Good morning, good looking people, and you're good looking because you're always looking, and of course, you are finding the good in everything. How are you? Hope you're well. Hope you had a nice Shabbos. Today we're going to be doing the Hayom Yom for yesterday, which was the 11th of Menachem Av. The Hayom Yom is really all about the beginning journey of the Alter Rebbe. So let's read it inside, and also I'll give you the background after we're done. So, for the Hayom Yom of the 11th of Menachem Av, the Alter Rebbe journeyed to Mezrich together with his brother the Maharil in 1764. The Maharil had set out without permission from his wife, so he had to turn back in the middle of their journey. The Alter Rebbe arrived in Mezrich and he remained there on his first occasion until after Pesach in 1765. Now, for the first 2 weeks he was there, he was undecided if he wanted to stay or not. It says the first mimer he heard from the Maggid was entitled Nachamu, Nachamu, and it's not known whether this was the first mimer he heard on his arrival or the first mimer he heard after the 2 weeks that he decided that he was going to stay in Mezrich and have a connection with the Maggid. So, let's break this down a little bit. First of all, the Alter Rebbe's journey started in Mezrich to be with the Maggid of Mezrich. Also, the first mimer that it talks about today is Nachamu, Nachamu, which is connected to Parshas V'eschanan. Also in the fifth Aliyah, where Hashem is telling Moshe to stay and stand with me, meaning to stay with Hashem and send the people back. And also, what's very interesting is the sentence that's being used that the Rebbe's brother, the Maharil, Rebbe Yehuda Leib, had to turn around because he didn't have permission from his wife. So let's filter this, let's break it down a little bit. First of all, Yud Aleph Tammuz is the wedding anniversary of the Alter Rebbe. So the point that's being made today is everything you do needs to be with permission from your spouse. So husband needs permission from his wife, and vice versa. Wife needs permission from the husband, and it's important that whatever we do, we should do with consent. Now, also, the Alter Rebbe had set times of when the Hasidim were able to come visit him. And it was one of those times was Shabbos Nachamu, which is Parshas V'eschanan, that the Alter Rebbe made it that the Hasidim can come on that particular week. And then just to end off with a small story, that the Alter Rebbe, after that first visit, he was getting ready to turn around and go home. He was actually planning to walk all the way back. And when the Maggid of Mezrich heard this, he made sure that there was a wagon and horses to take him back. Now, the Maggid's son was known as Avraham the Malach, and he was also the Chavrusa of the Alter Rebbe for a period of time. And when the Alter Rebbe got on the wagon to go with the horses, it says Avram the Malach, he told the coach driver, he said the following: whip the horses until they stop being horses, or another version is, whip the horses until they know that they are horses. And at that moment, the Alter Rebbe heard this, and it was enough for him to realize he learned a whole brand new pathway to learning to Hashem. And this would change his whole direction. And he got off the wagon and he went back to Mezrich and he stayed there for a little bit longer. And what he was referring to is that horses refers to the materialism. That when he heard that phrase of what Avram said about till the horses know that they're horses, that he knew that this was the path that he had to learn, that the materialism is materialism, and that he had to convert that materialism. He had to make those horses subservient for God's work. And that was the story at the end of the notes on the Hayom Yom. So have a wonderful week. The message is, first of all, everything needs to be with consent from your spouse. Husbands from the wives, wives from the husbands. Those who aren't married, God willing, you'll have the consent when you're married. You should be married soon. We need Mashiach. With all the comforting, we learn about how comforting from man and Hashem, there are two different types of comfort. And three, that this is really the path of the beginning of the Alter Rebbe, and that we all need to work on ourselves to transform that materialism into spiritual. Have a great week.